Days of Our Lives spoilers October 7th. Brady stuns Sarah. A kiss of fire and fury. How Brady's desperate gambit on October 7th ignites Salem's next war. In the grand Gothic tapestry of Salem, where love is a weapon and secrets are currency, a single moment can unravel a decade of carefully constructed lives. On October 7th, that moment arrives, not with a whisper, but with a seismic shockwave that will emanate from the very heart of the Brady pub. The spoiler is succinct, a mere 3 words that promise to detonate multiple lives. Brady stuns Sarah. But to call it a mere stunning is to call a hurricane a bit of wind. This is not a simple, romantic surprise. It is a Hail Mary pass thrown from the depths of a broken man's soul, a calculated act of emotional warfare, and a potential catalyst for a chain of events that will redefine the very foundations of Salem's most embattled families. The Tinderbox, a portrait of 2 ships sinking. To understand the magnitude of the shock, one must first survey the scorched earth upon which Brady Black and Sarah Horton currently stand. Brady is a man drowning. The specter of Kristen Di Mera, the love of his life and the architect of so much of his torment, looms over him like a shroud. Their toxic, all-consuming passion has left him with a child, Rachel, but also with a heart perpetually on the verge of collapse. Kristen's latest machinations have pushed him to a breaking point. He is isolated, his judgment clouded by betrayal and a desperate need for an anchor in his churning world. He looks in the mirror and sees his father, John Black, a man forever haunted by his past, and he fears he is destined to repeat those cycles of pain. Sarah Horton, meanwhile, is a ghost haunting her own life. The brilliant, compassionate doctor has been reduced to a shell by the devastating machinations of the late, unlamented Orpheus and his accomplice, Megan Hathaway. Her memories of her deep, true love with Xander Cook, the reformed rogue who fought so hard to become worthy of her, were stolen, replaced with a fabricated, traumatic past that painted him as a monster. In Xander's place, she was manipulated into the arms of the seemingly safe, stable Rex Brady. Her engagement to Rex is a monument to that manipulation. It is a comfortable, sterile arrangement built on a foundation of lies. She feels a flicker of something, duty, perhaps, or the echo of a teenage crush, but not the roaring, inconvenient, all-forgiving love she once shared with Xander. She is playing a part, walking through a life that feels like it belongs to someone else. Salem, in its current state, is a tinderbox of unresolved longing and manufactured peace. And Brady Black, in his profound despair, is about to strike a match. The spark, a confessional at the pub. The scene on October 7th is deceptively simple. Sarah, plagued by a restlessness she cannot name, seeks a moment of solace away from the suffocating perfection of her life with Rex. She finds herself at the Brady pub, the town's eternal confessional. It is here she encounters Brady, hunched over a glass of whiskey, the amber liquid a mirror for his dark mood. The conversation begins as commiseration. 2 members of Salem's first family, the Hortons and the Bradys, comparing their uniquely tragic lot in life. Sarah speaks of the strange, persistent emptiness she feels, a phantom limb of the heart. She confesses, in a moment of vulnerability, that while Rex is a good man, their relationship sometimes feels like a beautifully staged play where she's forgotten her lines. Brady, emboldened by liquor and despair, sees a kindred spirit. He speaks of Kristen, of the addiction that is loving her, of the constant cycle of ecstasy and agony. He talks about the terror of raising a daughter in the shadow of that chaos. And then, his voice dropping to a raw, pained whisper, he says the words that change everything. At least you have a choice, Sarah. You chose Rex. You walked into that with your eyes open. My life. It's a prison. And the worst part is, I love my jailer. It is in this shared space of profound unhappiness that the stunning moment occurs. Seeing the tears swell in her eyes, recognizing his own reflection in her pain, Brady does the unthinkable. He reaches out, cupping her face with a tenderness he hasn't shown anyone in months. His eyes search hers, not with the fiery possession of Kristen, but with a desperate, shared need for salvation. And then he kisses her. It is not a gentle, exploratory kiss. It is not the chaste peck of family friends. It is a kiss of pure, unadulterated shock and awe, a transfer of all his pent-up frustration, his loneliness, his raging need to feel something, anything, other than the pain that defines him. It is a kiss meant to jolt them both back to life. The shockwave, the many victims of a single act. The shock of the kiss ripples outwards instantly, its consequences immediate and devastating. For Sarah, the world stops. For a fleeting second, the fog in her mind parts. The kiss is wrong, it's chaotic, it's a betrayal of Rex. But it is real. It is an emotion not prescribed to her by manipulators. It is a spark of genuine, if misguided, feeling that cuts through the numbness. The stunning part isn't just the act itself, but the terrifying, unwelcome flicker of recognition it ignites within her. It doesn't make her fall in love with Brady. It makes her violently aware that she is not in love with her fiancé. For Brady, the moment the shock wears off, horror dawns. He pulls back, seeing the stunned confusion on her face. He realizes he hasn't solved anything. He has merely added a new, catastrophic layer of complication to both their lives. He sought a lifeline and instead may have just capsized another ship. The kiss was a scream for help, but in the echoing silence that follows, it sounds more like a declaration of war. For Rex Brady, this is the ultimate betrayal. The stable, often overlooked doctor has always lived in the shadow of his more volatile cousin. To discover that Sarah, the woman he believes he has saved and built a future with, has been kissed by Brady, will shatter his worldview. This isn't just a romantic betrayal, it's a deep, familial one that will fracture the Brady family from the inside out. And for Xander Cook, this is the moment that will unleash the beast Salem thought was tamed. Xander has been playing the long game, trying to be a gentleman, respecting Sarah's fractured memory and her choice, believing that true love would eventually find a way. The news that Brady Black, a man he has clashed with for years, has kissed his Sarah will be the final straw. All the progress, all the reformation, will be incinerated in the heat of a rage born of primal possession and heartbreak. He will see it not just as Brady moving in on his woman, but as proof that the good man act is a fool's game in a town that rewards chaos. The inferno to come, a Salem reborn in chaos. The kiss between Brady and Sarah is not the beginning of a new love story. It is the end of the fragile peace that has held Salem together. It is the spark that will ignite a multi-front war. A Brady versus Brady war between Rex and his cousin, tearing the family's core apart. A Black versus Cook war, resurrecting one of Salem's most volatile rivalries and pushing Xander back to the brink. And most tragically, it throws Sarah into a deeper internal conflict, forcing her to question every feeling, every memory, and every choice she has made since her return. On October 7th, Brady Black, in a moment of stunning, reckless vulnerability, doesn't just stun Sarah Horton. He stuns an entire town. He reminds everyone that in Salem, the most dangerous forces are not the master criminals or the diabolical schemers, but the raw, unvarnished, and desperate human heart. And as the shockwaves from that single, desperate kiss begin to spread, one thing becomes terrifyingly clear. Salem will never be the same again.